You know, I think that I have to conclude that for a lot of people in the UK media, this is The Guardian, they don't believe Kate had cancer either. And they don't want to come right out and say that they believe that the Princess of Wales lied about having cancer. But there have been a few articles from the UK media, which is very shocking, that hints at what they truly believe about Kate's cancer story in light of the video she and William released this week um, on their YouTube channel or wherever they released it at this point. I don't even know, but it was released. It was not sent to the press. It was released on their own social media platform, and everybody, in the aftermath, after everyone has had a chance to absorb it and digest it, now you have all of the reactions starting to come out. And shockingly, to me anyway, a lot of the UK journalists are hinting that they also think what the rest of us are thinking, that this whole thing was a hoax from beginning to end. Let's listen to what Hillary Osborne had to say. Let's read it, guys. She said, Kate's recovery is great news, but be wary of a soft focused view of life after chemo. Now, apparently, this woman has had chemo. So this is, she knows I've never to this date had chemo. So I can't really say what it's like. Hopefully, I never will. Dear God, please. But and this is not to make light of anything, but it's to say that for me, from the very beginning of this whole thing, and I followed this whole thing, I had playlists dedicated to Where's Kate and things like that. And then once she came out and she said on that bench that cancer had been found, that whole thing leading up to that, I lost respect for her. And they just lost the plot as far as I was concerned. I did not believe it was authentic. I said so. I stand by it unless something happens to prove me wrong, where maybe she releases videos showing her treatment, the process, you know, just showing how this disease and her treatment really affected her. Apparently, I saw in a comment, I don't know if it's true, that when you get chemo, there's some kind of is it a stint or a stunt or something that they put into your body, in your arm or in your chest or something like that, to get the treatment into your body, apparently. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if this is true. It was in a comment that I read somewhere, and apparently there's no trace of that on Kate's arms or her chest. you know she needs to do a video at this point, I think, that really shows, because I'm sure she has some home videos, her going through this process, whether she lost her hair, whether she was, it's just something authentic that really shows that she did have this disease, because right now it's looking that she's a liar. Anyway, so Hillary Osborne, I hope people took comfort from the royal video, but a film made after my treatment would have been grayer and grottier, perhaps more typical, right? So she's saying that look at this, Kate's post chemo treatment is bizarre. Nobody behaves like this after such a serious illness. They just don't, even if they're feeling much better. And certainly someone in her position, where people are looking to her for, again, guidance, inspiration, etc. Her body language was all wrong. That's what everybody's saying. So here's the author of this piece in The Guardian. I'm trying to imagine what a film announcing my recovery from cancer would have looked like. Probably a bit like a trailer for a new zombie film rather than a Flake advert. What's Flake? Is it a hair commercial? I have no idea. Probably nothing like the video released by the Princess of Wales to mark her emergence from treatment. You see, read the subtext. I don't believe you, Kate. You're a liar. You did not have cancer. Hillary didn't say that, but that's the subtext, you guys. For wandering through wheat fields, I would substitute tackling an overgrown garden that I had not had the energy to do anything with for more than a year before having to have a sit down because I was so knackered. For contemplative lean against a tree, I would substitute a rest against a lamppost on the way to work for a quiet sob. For shiny hair and complexion, which I mean, Kate's hair is just amazing. Never seen it look so good. For shiny hair and complexion, I would substitute what one of my doctors described as a sort of grayness that seems to linger on patients for a while after chemo. Wow. Of course, Catherine wasn't going to release a film showing her sobbing on a beach as she wondered if cancer would come back and why she wasn't now enjoying every single moment of her precious post cancer life, right? And she goes on and on. She says her keenness to return to work wasn't ever going to be publicly followed by her describing her fears that she had forgotten how to do it or might not manage a whole day without needing a rest or a cry or both, right? Because people with chemo and cancer, they do a lot of crying, they cry and they get really tired and winded and they look drawn and weak and tired. They don't look like they've been into a spa for an entire year where they're getting massages and facials and hair treatments, which is how Kate looks, right? And she was hardly ever going, this is the author continuing, to appear in her pajamas, wondering why she sometimes still struggled to get out of bed, even though the treatment was done, right? Because the tiredness apparently lingers after chemo. You don't suddenly look like somebody who could run an Olympic triathlon event, right? The author continues, hers was the version you would post on Facebook with the grotty bits cropped out. But despite knowing that, I still found watching such glossy images of cancer's aftermath quite jarring. So this woman is not saying it out loud, but she's saying it in the subtext. I don't believe this woman ever had cancer. Who lies about having cancer? From the very beginning, I mean, and I've had this conversation with one of my friends. It's like she got really upset with me. I mean, she's in America and apparently she had cancer. I don't know what kind. We're friends, but I don't know the details of this. But she did tell me in the aftermath that she had cancer, and that this is something that's so serious. She says that nobody would ever lie about something like this. I mean, you would have to be a particular kind of sociopath to lie about having cancer. And I'm like, I know, but she's lying. She's lying, right? And so we went back and forth on that because my friend was like, she believed Kate. I never believed Kate, right? So when the princess first announced she had cancer in a video in March, I was very moved. As someone who had been diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years earlier and was just finishing treatment, I related to her shock and her fears for the future. I hoped she would have a successful course of treatment, and I'm really pleased that she has made a recovery. But I found this new film upsetting in a different way. Her message of hope is lovely, but the soft focus image of life on the other side of a course of chemo, despite the words that go with it, underplays the strain on patients and their families. The words cancer and chemotherapy cover a whole range of things, but if you have never encountered either close up, then please know that it doesn't always look like this. Well, there you go. Voila. Yes, there will be other people who have gone through it and come out the other side looking the same, but for many, there are mental and physical scars that may never heal. Obviously, no one looks at the royal family for reality, but it feels we are being talked to as if we can relate to what Catherine has been through. While some of the sentiments rang a bell for me, the whole package was so far from relatable, I wished I hadn't watched it. I feel glad I didn't see it as soon as I'd finished my chemo, when I was definitely gray and had a lot more anxiety than I do now about how to enter the world again. Hopefully, there were other people watching who took more comfort from it than I did. And of course, it's her recovery to celebrate and communicate as she wants. I really hope it was her choice how it was done. But to anyone out there who worries that they can't relate, please be assured that other cancer sufferers may have made quite a different film. Oh my God. In my version, there would have been happiness and love, but with an undercurrent of fear. I've written before about how cancer made me quite horrible at times and tested those close to me, and my film definitely would have included arguments about the dishwasher. The type of chemo I had meant that I was contending with a lot of hair loss, so there would have also been hairstyles that dealt with a combination of stubble and normal hair. There would have been a bit more anger and some confusion about what, can you hear my stomach growling, you guys? I'm sorry if you can, about what I could take away from the whole experience. And as for the sepia tinge, what's that? Well, that may well have clashed with my gray pallor, so mine would have definitely been shot without filters. Oh, okay, so she's saying that they shot it with filters. Oh, wow. You see, you got to read the subtext with this stuff. And what this woman is saying is that I think what I hear her saying is that, you know what, when she came out and said she had cancer, I think I believed her. But now with this video that she made post cancer, I wish I never saw the video because now it puts everything into question about whether she had cancer at all. That's what this woman is saying. And I have said from the beginning, and I mean, look, I think I'm a fair and reasonable human being, you know, and I was following this from the very start in January or whenever she first came out with this whole story that she's hospitalized, and all the weird behaviors, the disappearance, the silence, the fake images, the Associated Press coming out and saying that they're like, South Korea, I mean North Korea and Iran, and all of it, the fake photos that were in the sun. But now I think Farm Shop Kate might have been the real deal, and that followed closely with the bench Kate, looking all pale without makeup, intentionally without makeup, as I said back then, to make it look like things were so bad with her, right? And then all of this long, not working because she's battling cancer. I mean, Megan cannot leave the house in Los Angeles because Kate is battling cancer for 9 months. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, look at the life that Kate was living the life. Kate is living the life with her husband and her children, and basically laughing at us because, I mean, they want Megan to go sit in the house until this woman recuperates from cancer, which, it is a big question mark whether she ever had cancer at all. And this is from the UK Guardian, right? I mean, this isn't the only piece from the UK journalist. There was something even in the Daily Mail by Liz Jones, I think is her name, about this video, because I think it's one step too far. Kensington Palace is taking them for fools, and they're literally laughing at the journalists and the media and the entire global community with these antics. They're laughing, they're making a fool of the journalists, and now the journalists are beginning to call foul. It's kind of like, we're your friends, we're on your side, we covered you, but don't make a fool of us. This is what I think is happening, and just watch as this continues to crescendo to the point that there has to be real accountability from Kensington Palace as to what really has been going on for the past year. Because what they told the world is a big, fat lie. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.